So, we are at San Diego Anime Con, along with everybody else. It is still a relatively small con. I asked one of the organizers, and it looks like there's only 2,500 today, and they're expecting about 2,000 tomorrow. After getting my badge, wandered around for a little bit before I went in to see my friend Gideon's panel, which was on sort of the history of anime, or at least the starts of it in the 1960s and 70s. As Gideon informed us, the term anime didn't really come into being until like the 70s. So it was like proto-anime. So after that, and spending some time with him, wandered around for a little bit, wandered into the taiko drums, which were extremely interesting. And very, very loud, which is where I found this little girl just asleep in her dad's arms, which, how? Just how? Those drums were so loud, and she was just passed out. So I'm assuming that she's had a very big weekend, and there are a lot of people, and she just curled up in dad's arms and passed out. This con is set up differently than I've seen a lot of cons, and part of that I know is because of the space. This particular hotel has limited large space, but it has lots of meeting rooms, because it's definitely like a meeting room sort of convention hotel than it is like conventions, so they don't have like big rooms. I did stop and talk to one voice actor who I had been looking at her stuff, or her, I should say, and I keep thinking, like, I know her from somewhere, and I cannot figure out where I know her from. So I talked to her, talked to a bunch of other people, bought some stuff, mostly for friends. I am filming this towards the end of day one, so I haven't done this yet, but I plan to buy this really cute bird sushi, which you can see here. I'm not as into anime as I used to be. I'm still definitely into it. I like it. I guess I'm just not the demographic for an anime convention anymore. No, oh my god, pink. Oh, so much pink. It looks like it was hosed down with Pepto-Bismol. I don't know when anime became pink. But oh my god, so much pink. And the costumes. Oh my god. Absolutely beautiful costumes. And cosplay here. I wish I had half the talent that some of these people display. There's a lot of stuff that is really, really pretty, but is just, I've just never seen it. And it's possible it's from a video game, it's possible it's from an anime. They also had an outdoor area that was just, it's like a little, they have weddings out there and stuff like that when it's not, comic book and convention here. So I was out there and there were a bunch of people like practicing for the anime karaoke tonight. I really like the energy of anime cons in general. So much so that by 3 o'clock I'm sitting down in the lobby. I love sitting here and just watching the people come by, and like kind of the groups like get together and sit and talk, and people talk about other people. Oh my god, it's like high school. It's kind of like, oh, they're wearing Naruto costumes. Like these people aren't also wearing costumes for an anime that like 10 years from now people are gonna look back and they're gonna be like, oh, I wore that? Oh, it's fun to watch people walk by. Like, right now, I'm watching a Kiki's delivery service and a My Friend Totoro, Lolita, My Friend Totoro, walk by. And it's interesting also that anime people have their own time scale. So, like, 2 o'clock was when everybody was like, ooh, I gotta get food. I'm hungry. I'm starving. And you just saw this place just sort of like empty out. anime cons and anime people generally tend to go much later into the evening. I don't know if I'm gonna make it that far. I'm a little burned out. I'm starving. I'm waiting for a friend of mine to show up so that I can meet up with him and then I'm going home. Okay, so it's the end of day 2. I'm heading home. Had a great day with my cousin. Not a lot of footage because just it was a lot of the same stuff from day 1, but my panel went off really well and I got recognized, which I always love because that hardly ever happens when I do Hawkeye. By and large, excellent convention. See you in the next one. So, I have just come home and taken off all my costume stuff, which is, I've discovered quite a lot. So I am home from San Diego Anime Con. It was its first year, I found out. They sold out both days, 2,000 people. It was super amazing. I got some wonderful merch. I really didn't spend that much, but I got a Sushi Bird. Isn't it adorable? Look at its little feet. I love it. Absolutely love it. One of the only things that I saw that I was like, must own. My cousin actually bought me this because I loved it. Love you, Kelly. Love you, Lucy. Thank you so much. I'll get you back one day, and not in a like with my arrows sort of way, but you know, nice. So it was really cool. And on my way out, somebody actually recognized me as Hawkeye, which is, you know, want to show if that. Because not a lot of people recognize the Hawkeye cosplay, but these guys recognized me and they wanted a picture with me, which is cool. There was also a really cool Ghost Rider walking around. He's not the character that you want to interact with because he does kind of, you know, bring up all your sins and stuff. It was really cool. My panel went really well. I don't think I have any, I know I don't have any footage or anything of that because I was halfway through before I remembered that I was going to ask my cousin to shoot some footage of it. But it went really well. We'll probably be doing it again at another con, and I'll get footage of it then and show you guys for that con. But all in all, very good con. Good setup. There's some issues, but that's because of the way the hotel's set up. Like the room that the taiko drums are in, if you have a room next to that room, you can't hear anything but the taiko drums. There's the issue with the badges, which I really don't love. They kind of work if you're doing like a one-day show or a small little event, but for like a convention, I don't like them. So we got lanyards. That's the back with the sponsors, and then this with their angry panda person. So like everywhere we went, like if we were going somewhere, it'd be like, oh, well, but do you have your badge? Oh, you have your badge, but do you have the wristband? And it's like one or the other. It works if you're doing like a one-day show and you just want to like a quick visual that they paid. But like on a 2-day show, it just gets to be a lot, and especially it would save them money, and especially just like 2 things. So you can't like walk 5 feet without somebody being like, oh, but do you have this? Or do you have the other one? Because they can see one, but they can't see the other. It's just, I'm not in love with it. I really want them to either do wristbands or do badges. The only other problem that I had, I think, has more to do with the way the hotel is set up. This hotel is kind of one of the older hotels in San Diego. It's been around for a long time, and it's definitely set up to have a bunch of meetings and to have like a ballroom where you would have like banquets and stuff. It's not really set up like some of the other newer ones to have large conventions. You know, we had to go like upstairs to see more vendors and more artists, and downstairs, and then the vendors hall, which there were 2 vendors halls, which I found really weird because I remember that the 2 halls that these vendors were in could be opened up to be one giant hall. So I was kind of like, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you just take the air wall down and just make it one giant room? And one of the rooms upstairs was like a larger room, and it had the voice actors in it. And one of the things I did love about the voice actors, different voice actor combination each day. So the voice actors that were there on Saturday were different from the voice actors that were there on Sunday. Which sadly broke my cousin Lucy's heart when I told her that somebody from Five Nights at Freddy's had been there the day before, and she was just like, oh no, I missed them. And I'm like, girl, there'll be other cons. She'll be back. So these are all like really minor things. Those are like tiny little things. Quality of life improvements. It's like, oh, this was your first con. You've never done it in this space. You've never been to this space. You wouldn't have known. Except for, like, you do a walkthrough before and a couple of other things. But, the other thing that I really liked is this company that has this convention. They have a couple of other events. They also have an event that is an adult anime con called Hentai Matsuri. And to advertise that, they had a hentai room, which I don't have footage of because it was a hentai room, but it was kind of that was interesting. It was an interesting way to advertise another one of their conventions by giving it its own room. And it was its own room that you kind of like you had to know where it was. And somebody kind of had to tell you. But it was one of those things where it was like, I just thought it was like a neat way to advertise that adult thing, was to just give it its own thing in another room, kind of far away, so that it wasn't like, oh yeah, and by the way, we do this hentai con, which, you know, can really turn people off, especially if they're there with their kids. So overall, it was just like a really excellent con. A couple of like little minor things, which I think some of it is the space and some of it's how they run it, and maybe they'll change it in the future. Because I really get the impression that they've never done like a proper multi-day con before. They've done Fangia, which is like a one-day thing, and they did Anime Land, which is like a bazaar, and that's also like a one-day thing, or if it's like a two-day thing, it's like an outside bazaar type thing, like a fair. And it was all in all like a really good, solid con, and I would love to see this con grow, because right now in San Diego we have anime events, but we don't really have like a good anime con. Anime cons in San Diego historically in the past have lasted about 1 to 2 years and then they die. I would like this to not do that. I would like this to go on for more than 1 or 2 years. So there's a little couple of things like that, but overall it was really good, a lot of fun. I did come home early today because honestly, after one day, I had seen pretty much everything. I didn't have a lot of money to spend, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money, so going back over some of it was just, it wasn't going to do me any good. It would just be me being like, yep, there's that Sailor Moon statue. There's the Little Mermaid statue that I really liked. You know, or sit there and tempt me with something that I really either can't buy or really shouldn't buy. I could see where somebody could spend 2 full days there, especially if you're really sitting there and looking at every single artist and engaging with every single artist. And people watching at these things are the thing to do. I love anime conventions for people watching. I saw 2 costumes that were kind of old school and I was like, yee. And, you know, I just really appreciate that, and I like watching it. I also like it when the costumes come by and I'm like, who the hell is that? Like, that costume is amazing, but who? What? Where? Thank you all for joining me. I am working on trying to be a bit more regular, which is why I'm shooting this right now, not on my set over there, but just like camped out on my bed so that I can get this out and get it over to my editor so that I can start trying to post more regularly, because when I do it on my set, I have to clean a bunch of shit and I have to focus and write a script. But I feel like if I do this, I might be able to get the videos out faster. We'll see. Anyway, all of the people that I met and I got business cards from, they'll all be listed below, including where you too can get your very own Sushi Bird. Looks so cute. I didn't get, like some of the cosplayers, I just didn't get contact information for, but everybody else will be in the bottom. And if you are one of those cosplayers, let me know, and then I'll just add it on to the bottom. So anyway, I will see you in the next one, which hopefully won't be that long. And peace. Be safe and don't work hard, because why bother?